morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at Weavile GX. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Weavile GX looks really, really good. I'm a huge fan of this. Also, shout out to Steve, Neospatian, Dolphin, over on Twitter. It always makes me really happy when people say, hey, I'm really waiting for Wassie's video on this. I want to see what he thinks. That makes me feel important and loved, so thank you. So, Weavile. Do we love Weavile? I think we probably do. Starting off with the basics, it's got 200 HP, which is about what we would expect from a Stage 1 GX. And then it's got a retreat cost of 1, which is really nice, because it means you can have free retreat either using U-turn board, which is good, or escape board, which is not quite as good, but does let you retreat when you are asleep or paralyzed. So, you know, not all bad. We've got a weakness to fighting here, which is actually pretty bad. Pikarom is still something that people are going to be trying to counter after the rotation. And then, of course, you've got stuff like the non-GX Buzzwole, and frankly, fighting weakness is not a particularly great one to have at the moment. Boo, hiss, etc. Resistance to Psychic is good, given that Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX looks like it's going to be absolutely nuts. And being a Darkness Pokemon is alright. In terms of weakness, you are getting Mimikyu and Gengar, which sees a little bit of play here and there, as well as Giratina, which generally sees play in the same kind of decks. We are getting keeping Black Market Prism Star, which means you'll only give up 1 prize rather than 2, but we've lost a bunch of stuff like Devoured Field, and we lost Dark Patch ages ago, which is a little bit sad, though you do still have access to those cards in Expanded, if that's what you're into. But the most exciting thing about Weavile here, and our translation today is a mixture of Joe from Cerebi.net and the lovely David Hochmann, and apparently the ability says, as often as you like during your turn, you may move one of your darkness energy from one of your Pokemon to another of your darkness Pokemon. And this is just great. We've seen a bunch of Pokemon over the years that do this, and they've all been great. Now, to be fair, we did have Golduck Break, who never saw any play and can move any energy, but Golduck Break was a break, which means it's essentially a Stage 2, where you can't use Rare Candy, and it just got a little bit awkward. But Aromatisse was a Stage 1 that did this for Fairy Pokemon, and that saw a lot of play. And we've actually seen it for Darkness Energy before, with Hydreigon. This was the one from Dragons Exalted, whose ability, as often as you like during your turn, you may move a Darkness Energy attached to one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. This is the exact same ability we saw on Hydreigon, with one gigantic difference, and the difference is this. It's a basic Pokemon, not a Stage 2. That makes a huge difference. That makes an absolutely huge difference. Now, we could also argue that it gives up 2 prizes rather than 1, and yes, fair cop. But this is a Darkness deck, and Darkness makes such a huge difference. Darkrai Prism Star. This is phenomenal with Darkrai Prism Star. You see, Darkrai Prism Star basically says when you bench it, you can attach an extra 2 Darkness Energy from your hand to it. The reason why Darkrai Prism Star has seen, to put it bluntly, naffle play so far, is because it takes 4 energy to attack and it's awkward to get the energy off. You can basically use Energy Switch, and then there's a combo I've mentioned a few times, Nanu. And Nanu is fine, but the problem is you've got bench Darkrai Prism Star, then you've got to have a basic Darkness Pokemon that you want to replace it with in your discard, then you've got to use Nanu as your supporter for the turn. Whereas with Weavile, you just drop Darkrai, move the energy over. It's ridiculous. How about Incineroar? Incineroar GX has a great ability. Once during your turn, you may pop 3 damage counters on it and put free energy on. If you use Nanu, you keep the free damage counters. If you use Weavile, you just move the energy over and you don't keep the damage counters. And then, of course, we've got Greninja and Zoroark, whose GX attack allows you to get 2 EX or GX Darkness Pokemon from the discard onto your bench. But if you've got a third energy on there, you get to put 2 energy onto each of them. And then you get to use Weavile to put those 4 energy wherever you gosh darn well feel like. And because we've got stuff like Greninja and Zoroark, like Incineroar, and especially like Darkrai Prism Star, that's why this ability is so nuts. I mean, if you go into Expanded and start bringing in Max Elixir and Dark Patch as well, this is over the top great. Now, to the rotation, we're losing Max Potion, but in Expanded, you can do the old thing, or if we ever get Max Potion back, move the energy off, Max Potion, move it back on. Or move the energy off, Ace Roller, put it back down, move the energy on. Ace Roller, unfortunately, has since rotated as well, which is a little bit sad. And you know at this stage I have got to mention Mega Sableye and Tyranitar that we looked at very, very recently. That is a phenomenal Pokemon, link in the description to that video, but it's just too gosh darned expensive. I mean, the GX attack needs a lot of energy, 8 energy if anyone's interested. But now, and then you get to discard the top 15 cards of your opponent's deck. But now, you're fine. Because all you need to do is make sure you've got 8 energy on there, and then you're rocking. You just go. It's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Because you can keep the energy on, keep the energy on, keep the energy on, keep the energy on, then when you need it, you just pop all of it over in one go, and you're rolling. It is, frankly, over the top. By the way, I said 7 energy a minute ago. I meant 10 energy. And then, of course, you got the main attack, 5 energy, 210. But if you take an EX or GX KO, you take an extra prize. It's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely ridiculous. This ability is phenomenal. Yes, it's a 2-prize Pokemon, but we're also losing all of our good gusting effects to the rotation. Guzma, Lycanroc, Pokemon Catcher, Counter Catcher, all of these cards are going, and we'll probably get a new one at some point, but in a format without gusting, where it doesn't even really matter how weak you are, this is just crazy good. Now, there is an attack here as well, 2 darkness, 1 colorless, 130. If you're hitting for weakness, this is great. I'm looking at you, Mimikyu and Gengar. And similarly, against non-GXs, this is generally good. Boswell goes down. Then again, Granbull is one of the better non-GXs, and with the resistance, it will unfortunately survive. It's fine. It's not particularly good. It's not particularly exciting. It is kind of weird how many GXs have kind of a standard free energy 130 attack. We saw it on Tapu Koko, and it's not actually come out yet, but it will be coming out fairly soon. We've seen it on Heatran GX. Turns out 2 coloured, 1 colourless 130 is fairly standard. Gets most non-GXs, gets pretty much anything that's weak, doesn't get general GXs or tag team GXs. Most of them, it will be a 2-hit KO. Although, to be honest, we're getting a whole bunch of 270 and above, like Celebi and Venusaur, for which it won't even be a 2-hit KO. And then we get to the GX attack here, and the GX attack is fine. It costs just a single colourless energy, which is quite nice. Means it's quite cheap. Yay, etc. Search your deck for as many basic Pokemon as you like, put them onto your bench, shuffle your deck. It's kind of like a one-sided playground, which for those of you that have forgotten was Pichu's attack from Heart Gold Soul Silver. Of course, it was on a single prize Pokemon that had free retreat, it cost 0 energy, and it put you to sleep, but when you were asleep, you couldn't take any damage. Now, of course, the counter-argument is, well, that's got 30 HP, and also, far more importantly, let your opponent grab their basics as well. I got baited at Worlds when my opponent used this and then put Pichu active before I could do mine. It was a little bit awkward. Hey-ho, I got baited. It's my own silly fault, ladies and gentlemen. I suppose when there's big prizes on the line, you need to be extra vigilant. The point is, this is fine. What I do like about this GX attack is, early in the game, I've got nothing. What am I going to do? I've drawn nothing. whack an energy on, get all your basics out, and partly that means you can evolve everything next turn because you bench them at the end of your turn. They're down at the start of your next turn, so that means that you can rock and roll and evolve straight away. But it also means you're kind of taking 4 or 5 cards out of your deck, making you more statistically likely to hit any of the supporters, etc. that you want to the following turn. This isn't the kind of GX attack that you're going to be desperate to use. It's not really something you're going to build your game plan around. This is an emergency GX attack. Although even having said that, it's not as good an emergency GX attack as something like Rayquaza, which discards your hand and draws 10, or Drampa, which will have rotated by the time this comes out, but also lets you shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 10. They are better emergency GX attacks. So I'm not a huge fan of the GX attack here, if I'm completely honest, but I don't think it particularly matters. The attack is fine, but the ability is nuts. Absolutely nuts. You can put the energy anywhere you like it, and then just move it around. You can retreat and then move the energy to a new attacker, forcing your opponent to either go for the prizes while letting you keep your energy, or the energy without taking the easy prizes. It allows you to heal if we ever get stuff like Max Potion back, and it is phenomenal with stuff like Darkrai Prism Star. I am a huge fan of this particular card, and it's largely the ability, but that's alright. I'm giving this between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric, and it's basically for the ability. The ability is nuts. But I would very much like to know what you think about it, ability and all, so do please let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.